spit truth for the fighters. Tighten your straps, no pain, no gain. Feel the thunder in the rap. Win with Nabs, hear the bell, we don't fold. Legends rise here, stories always told.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Win With Nabs, and today we're here with none other than legend Uriah Hall. Welcome to the show, brother.
Oh, I thought legend had to die to be a legend, but I take it.
I think you are a legend. So anyways, let's start with your story. You were born in Jamaica and you moved to America at a young age. What was that adjustment like for you?
Well, when I was first introduced to curry chicken in Jamaica.
Are we going to have this debate now? So we were talking about it before the show, and Uriah is very insistent that it's curry chicken when we all know that the right answer is chicken curry.
You know, it's a good thing we live on opposite sides of the planet because we wouldn't have got along, bro. It's curry chicken.
So anyways, you moved to New York. What was that like?
Moved to New York at a young age, 13 to be exact. Coming to America was just one of those experiences. You know, America is different from a cultural shock perspective, you know, especially as an immigrant from the island. I'm not used to wearing shoes. So kids, of course, are going to be the first thing to kind of try to shape and mold you, what you're doing, what you're not wearing correctly and all that. And the bullying started and martial arts intervened. Of course, I learned from a video game. And
which video game?
Tekken.
Oh, Tekken's a great game.
Fighting game ever.
See, that's a good take you have. That's the first good take we've heard today.
Street Fighter, you're up there too. And of course, watching Dragon Ball Z, which is responsible for a lot of real men these days. Great cartoon. So with those two concepts kind of inspired me. I kind of morphed into the character I am today.
So you just mentioned Dragon Ball Z. I got to ask you then, do you think anyone beats Goku? Could you beat Goku?
I can never beat Goku. But Goku instilled in a lot of us, I think, in me. I think in my youth, me and many other kids were trying to transform as a Super Saiyan. I failed, but it was very inspiring.
Everyone did.
Yeah. So it was very inspiring.
So let's talk about that inspiration. What was it like for you the first time you stepped into a martial arts dojo and started training?
I was terrified, and my mom put me in to learn self-defense because I didn't have any confidence. And of course, coming from Jamaica, I wasn't introduced to bullying or anything like that. So again, it was just a weird cultural perspective. And in New York City, of all places, is like the final boss of all the states.
There's so much stuff going on there.
So much, and not having that father figure to kind of be like, hey, this is what you do. When the bullying got escalated, she just put me in self-defense.
So at what point after you started your martial arts training did you become to evade the bullies or at least beat the bullies? Or like what was the change that stopped you from getting bullied? Because at some point you got pretty good. Nobody wanted to mess with you anymore.
I don't think it's like that. It's more from mental. You know, it changes your confidence. When you know how to defend yourself, you know, you carry yourself differently. You're more assertive than aggressive. So when I walk into a room, I look around, I'm like, I can fuck everybody up in here, but you don't have to. You know, it's like having a driver's license. You know how to drive. I'm sorry, having insurance. You're glad you have it, but you don't want to use it. So I have it in my back pocket. I don't walk around with this, you know, backup off me. But if given the opportunity, someone's gonna get their ass kicked.
You know you can handle business.
Yeah.
And I think it's really interesting you say that because when you think about the demeanor of fighters, it's true. They can walk into a room and beat anybody up, but they're the chillest people. I mean, you and I were joking about chicken curry.
You don't have to fake it. You know, that's what separates a lot of fake people these days.
So when you started learning about yourself through martial arts and started building up that confidence, what are some of the biggest takeaways you had that, you know what, forget about even my confidence in my physicality and athleticism. What kind of confidence were you building up in your mind saying, you know what, I don't care what these bullies think. I don't care what other people think. How did you get to that point?
I think it happened over time, but even in my career, you know, you go in the spotlight and people try to paint a picture. Interesting question because I was having this debate the other day and my mother, I remember telling me that there's nothing wrong with you because I am the guy to beat the crap out of you and be like, hey man, I'm sorry about that, you're okay. But of course, when you're in the spotlight and society kind of be like, stop being a bitch or you need to be this, then I started to, oh, okay, I'm supposed to be that guy. And it took me away from who I am. And my mother had to sit me down like, no, there's nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with you. You're a good man. You know how to protect and beat the shit out of somebody, but you're also humane. And I thought that was weird that, oh, I'm not a mean guy all the time. So, of course, with social media, which is the destruction of the world, you know, it just played in my head. Especially you watch the UFC, it's like a monopoly. You lose a fight, people just come at you. They don't even know what you had to go through.
It's crazy. I mean, you saw just the other day, I was super shocked about the reaction to this when Tom Aspinall had that bad eye poke happen to him.
The fight. What happened to him?
It's knuckle deep in his eyes, and all the fans are like, and everyone was booing him and saying, why'd he quit? And I'm like, dude, did you not see the replay? Like, his Gon's hands were knuckle deep in Tom's eyes, and people are trying to act like he quit on the fight.
I totally get it. I get where the fans are coming from. I get where he's coming from because the fans, we want to see, we pay. And, you know, he's like, you know, my eye, I don't want to have this long injury. When I fought Shaw Strickland, I broke my orbital the first round. The first 30 seconds, he punched me in the eye. And if you go back and watch that fight, I barely did shit because I couldn't see him. Now, I have a different mentality. I'm like, that. I don't need my eye. I just kept going.
You're a warrior.
I'm a warrior. So that's my mentality. If I lose a limb, I'm like, oh, I got 3 more. So some people have it and some people don't. So again, I get where they're coming from and I get where he's coming from.
I think that's a really interesting perspective. So when you started doing your martial arts training, how long until you reached this point where like, well, this is actually what I want to do and this is what I want to pursue? What was that? How old were you around when that happened? And then you started thinking, I could be a professional.
I must have been 17 at the time or maybe 18. And I dropped out of school. School's not for everybody. And I remember saying, I'm going to go back to school and get a degree and just do something. And I was low on class and I went in and my sensei was like, I need to see your mom, to talk about classes. And I was like, I don't think I'm going to continue. And he was like, why not? And I explained to him. So my mom showed up. And, single mom at the time, and she could barely take care of us. And she walked in and walked out. And next thing you know, I have like 1,000 classes. I'm like, what happened? And, he convinced her to let me train.
Wow.
And he pulled me aside. He's like, listen, I understand, but I'm not going to lie to you. School's not for everybody. I know you had some running with school, but you have a gift. And right now you have a window with that. You can run with it. And I'm telling you, if you run with this, you can go very far. And that was the moment for me, for someone else to see me and believe in me.
So when you have someone who believes in you, how much of a difference do you think that makes? Especially when you didn't have any support, you were trying to figure things out, you didn't know you weren't sure what you wanted to do with your life. How much do you think it helped to have like a mentor or a sensei figure who's trying to help you out?
I think it's great. There's so many examples. I mean, look at President Austin, man. He has a beautiful wife. I've heard the stories of how she's so supportive of that. And I think for any man that's going through life and try to make it and do something, to have that backbone, especially as a wife, a female, to constantly push him, it's all the juice we need. That's going to make us kind of go into the world and be like, I can do anything. So if my coach is looking at me and having all this backbone to push me and lift me up and believe in me, I can do anything.
So let's start talking about now you're having this success, you're starting your amateur career, then you go into your professional career, eventually you get into the UFC. What's it like for you at a very, very, very young age to be finding all of this success and being so successful and then realizing that you've been able to accomplish so many amazing things despite the circumstances?
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't look at it like that. I don't even
Really?
consider people have to remind me, which I guess is a part of the issue in a sense, because I've never looked at myself as Uriah. I'm like, oh, I'm just a regular guy. So when I go out and I go online like everybody else, and sometimes I'm like, what are you doing online? I'm like, I'm just waiting to get in. And they're like, bro, get up here. You're Uriah. I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to be that guy. I've never used my fame to do things, but I've always carried myself like that. I think my mom is responsible for that, to always teach me to always be humble.
Keeping you grounded.
And keep me grounded. She's like the pebble behind my rock. She's always influenced me to be myself and to, not change, to be the change for the world, because it's a scary world.
So I just want to go back to this. You are a very accomplished and decorated fighter, but you walk into a room and you don't think about the fact that you have, obviously you don't have a big ego, but you have all this success and you don't even think about that when you think about, or you look at your past, or you look at even an old highlight reel. I would imagine it's pretty cool. Like maybe every once in a while, you probably have in your For You page a clip of something you did that was you're like, man, that was pretty cool.
People tag me, and once in a while I'll be like, hey, check this out. You see me throw a kick? But no, I'm kidding. But to answer that, it's funny you say that, because the other day I was going through something. And I passed by this amazing restaurant close by my house called Babush, Mediterranean food. And, there's this young kid that works there. I always go in and say hi. And I forgot what I was really going through. And he was like, how you been? I'm like, it feels weird being a Samaritan or civilian. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I don't know. I'd rather punch people in the face, or compete. And he was like, man, but you had such a great era. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, the time that you did what you did, it was so spectacular in that time frame. It was, no one could have compared to that at the time. And I've never looked at it like that. That was a time that I did what I did. And I think a lot of people forget the time frame that they have. That's why some of these fighters are still competing too late. Now I'm 41. I feel like I'm 28. I take care of my body. I train right. I'm black-athletic, which means I age backwards. So there's a way to do it. But the fact that he kind of gave me that perspective that, hey, you did great over here, and that's something to be proud of. I've never done that, because for most athletes, it's like, this is hard to do.
I think even just beyond athletics, I think people overlook when they think about their past accomplishments. Oh, this just happened.
Yeah, 'cause
and
it's
they
like,
don't
what's
think
next?
about
What's next?
they don't.
What's
It's just always what's next, but there's never you stop, you enjoy. I mean, this is gonna sound like all
It's
those
good and
corny,
bad.
those
It's good
corny
and bad.
graduation speeches were like, oh, we didn't stop to smell the roses.
didn't do that.
Not even like that corny stuff, but just in general, it is very fascinating that just sometimes you don't even think about it until you have someone else tell you about, dude, this is what you were able to accomplish, and this is amazing.
That's why you never know how people view you. I have people in my DMs, man, because of you, I started this. Some lady named their kid after me. I was like, what?
Wait. We got to talk about that.
I don't even know.
So
man.
someone named their kid after
Someone
you.
named their kid after me.
And they just DM'd you, yo, Uriah, I named my kid after you.
I named my kid after you. Now, in a weird sense, I was like, ha, ha, ha. But then when I thought about it, I must have been some type of inspiration to that person for them to view me as this person, to build a character, to symbolize, to name their child. I mean, to me, it's like, oh.
That's a very powerful thing if someone is willing
So,
to name their child.
And in my mind, I'm like, I'm nobody, bro. You're like, maybe Barack Obama, but not me. I don't know why I said that.
So I want to keep going on this same idea. What's it like for you? You've had your own challenges and your own struggles that you've talked a lot about. What's it like for you knowing that you can be an inspiration for other people, and since that you've been through your own problems, figuring out maybe you're the inspiration, that's the reason someone named their kid after you, or whatever it is, or they DM you, hey Uriah, just want to let you know that you being out there and you doing your thing and your story is inspiring me to keep chasing after my dreams every day. How does that make you feel? That beyond your accolades as a fighter, the fact that you're able to move people and inspire people to make their lives better or get through something tough?
I think that's a better calling for me. I spoke to a lady a while ago, and my friend made me do it, some type of guru teller or something. And she said, you're like a Tesla parked at a gas station. And I was like, what the hell does that even mean? And later on, I kind of figure out a couple of different versions. One of them is sometimes you're around some people or things or environment that you really don't belong. Because what the is a Tesla doing at a gas station, right? So when you're in certain environments that you don't belong, you're like, oh, I got to fit in. And you're looking for that charge, and it's not there. And everybody's filling up at gas. And you're like, well, what's wrong with me? Yeah, you're at the wrong place. And whether it's the wrong career or all that stuff, it kind of made me really look at what I'm really good at, what comes easy. And as much as I'm good at hurting people, I mean, I'm good at it, but I like to help people. So I do anti-bullying campaigns. I love to speak to kids because I'm not going to be here forever. And if I can mold and shape and give them some type of a positive perspective to go on in life, and I think Tupac said it the best, hopefully I can spark the brain of someone that's going to change the world. And that's where I'm headed. Maybe I'm getting older. Maybe I'm rethinking life differently because, when that pace slows down, you get rid of your ego. It's like, oh, I don't have to be the best in the world fighting. How can I be a better version of myself to help someone else to become the better version of themselves?
So I think that's the perfect segue into the question I ask all of my guests on the show. And it doesn't have to be about an actual fight. It could be about a personal experience, whatever. I'd ask you, what has been the toughest fight of your life? Inside, outside the cage, what has it been for you?
Oh, man. I'll be real. I fought Arctic. And I think especially for a man, not to discredit anything about women, but I dove into psychology because of that. I wanted to understand because I did the wrong thing and I end up here, and I did the right thing and I end up here. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not the problem. So experience that heartache, and especially while I was training for something, to compartmentalize that mindset, I'm like, because it's emotion. You can't go in a fight with emotion. I'm like, oh, man, I love that girl. So I had to be like, I can't deal with this right now. But it had to come up. And to still have that warrior mentality, to still show up, to go out there
Perform.
And cry. Right. And, you cry, you feel bad. You're like, I'm a man. I shouldn't be crying. I'm a bitch. And society's like, stop being a bitch. And they're like, okay, I'm sorry. And then, your coach is like, come on, man, snap out of it. That girl, whatever. Like, yeah, you're right. And then you have those alone moments to interject, and it was just back and forth. It was like a pressure cooker, and you just don't know what's going on. And then you're growing and evolving. You're like, what's happening?
There's a lot of moving pieces happen at the same time.
And that was
preparing
probably
for
the hardest fight.
And so in preparing for that fight, how do you not let the pressure get to you? Because you have all of this internal conflict, and you have actual fight preparation going on. How do you not let that boil over? Like you said, like a pressure cooker.
You let go. And I had to learn how to let go, because as human beings, we try to hold on to things, people, relationships, especially when they pass. It's like a train, right? People get on the train and get off. Sometimes some people stay too long on that train, and they're supposed to get off 5 stops ago, and you're like, no, see this view with me. And I think that's life trying to reward you, because some people, things come into your life to benefit you to become a better version of yourself. That's how I look at it. There's always growth. And again, I credit that to my mom. It's like, what is this teaching me, even if it didn't go my way? And she would always say, your disappointment is God's appointment, because you never know what he's protecting you from. And that's the positive reinforcement I have to teach myself. Yeah.
You know, and when you have faith in God's plan and you know everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, because I sucked at doing it. I sucked at controlling it. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing with it. He's like, give it to me. I'm like, all right. You know?
So you've had a lot of the success in your career, and now you're talking about how you had to deal with pressure. And we talked a little bit about social media and the internet. You have a lot of these, they call them keyboard warriors, which is people who type all the stuff. They can hide behind a screen, say whatever they want, insult fighters, compliment fighters, whatever that is. How do you manage the expectations of people? Or I know you said you like to tune them out, which I think is the right thing to do.
Yeah. It's hard to tune them out.
How do you fully manage expectations while at the same time trying to be like, well, I have to train, but also this is getting in my head. How do you not let that get to you?
I mean, I have to be honest. In the beginning, it did, but maybe I'm getting older. You realize that you can't please everybody. You just can't. Even when you do the right thing, someone will still find a way to be like, yeah, why did you help that old lady in the wheelchair? You're like, bro, you serious? You talking? You know, so you can't. So again, I had to sit back and pull back with myself. There's going to be haters out there, but you got to understand these haters. Why they're hating? To think that you have to wake up, crack your fingers, and be like, who can I put down today? Something's wrong with you.
You know, I think my favorite quote from something David Goggins says is, "You'll never meet a hater doing better than you."
You never. There's always somebody down here.
So I was having this discussion the other day. This is going to sound pretty nerdy, but we had a student council event for homecoming. I'm student body president at school, and a bunch of people afterwards were like complaining, like, "Oh, they didn't like this, they didn't like that." And I was talking with my friend, and there's people who are like sending messages, like, "Oh, like whatever, didn't like this," and I'm like, "Look, I don't like if you have a problem with it, do something about it. You know, instead of like, you know, you're gonna sit here and complain, or you're gonna try to either join it or make things better. You know, because I think it's really easy for people a lot of the times to be like, oh, I don't like this, or criticize instead of actually doing something.
You know why? Because we lack more empathy, and I've discovered empathy because I dated a narcissist. I don't know if you know about narcissists. Those people are wicked. And dating a narcissist and being with them, after, you know, we break up and all that stuff, is like you question your reality and your sanity. And of course, they're good at smearing your name and making you the bad person. You did all this, and you're like, but a month ago you said you love. It's a thing, because for them they don't have empathy. And a part of narcissism is, you know, you weren't raised a certain way with a certain, let's say, a family member, mom or dad. They weren't present, so they lack that part where they have to get that love. So now they use people as object instead of love. It's like, oh, this is just an object. You're not giving me what I want anymore. Let me go over here. And for you as a normal human being, you're like, yeah, but I love you. No, you're not helping me anymore. So once I had to dive into that, I learned empathy and how empathy really works and benefits us. So what you were saying about how some people could just be like that, they don't have that empathy.
Well, I think even now, even back to this idea of keyboard, it's so easy to hate now.
So
literally,
easy.
You pick up your phone, you type a little, you move your thumbs a little bit, and you have a hate comment.
I'm not gonna say it doesn't affect me.
Nobody versus like 20 years ago, nobody would go up to a professional fighter and say anything to their face, because you wouldn't. First of all, it's disrespectful. Second of all, they can knock you out, right? But now it's just, we've lowered the barrier to just saying whatever you want.
You know how you beat that?
People, how do you beat that?
Love.
I love that.
You got to beat it with love. And it's something I ignored about myself, because I had that and I thought it was frowned upon because you're a warrior. So there's certain expectation, keyword expect, that you have to have. But once I relieve myself of that and be like, well, what do I want? What do I really truly want? Not what you, her, him want. What do I really want? What makes me feel good about me? You know, not what that person's going to tell me to be. And then I just started to invest in myself. I think a lot of people should sit with themselves, especially America. America should sit with themselves for a long time. So I think people should sit with themselves to get to love themselves more. Some people don't understand that loving yourself doesn't mean, oh, I spend time, I walk my dog. No. You got to sit down, have that uncomfortable conversation. You got to look in the mirror and be like, all right, Uriah, what's wrong? Well, I ate a cheat meal today. Why? Well, I was feeling depressed. Why? Well, you know, my heart was broken. Why are you thinking about it? Well, I just felt, you dive so deep that you get to the root. You don't need a fucking therapist. Just fucking sit with yourself. That's all the therapy you need. And when you get to the bottom of that, I call it the why behind the why, you figure out at 7 years old, your dad didn't fucking love you. Like, oh, that's the fucking problem. And then you go sit with that little motherfucker, because that's what I had to do. I had to sit with little Uriah, because little Uriah got picked on. Little Uriah is like a little puppy sitting there going, oh man, I hope nobody's gonna pick on me. And I had to go down there like, oh shit, I forgot about you, bro. Let me come hang out with you, make you feel safe again. Sit with that little fucking you. That's the trauma. Fix it.
Wow, that's really powerful.
Thank you.
And I think that even you sharing that story is just, it just shows how powerful self-love can be. And I think it's something that's lacking.
It's so powerful.
And I think it's so interesting. I completely agree with you. I don't think that being a warrior means you shouldn't love yourself. In fact, I think part of being confident is loving yourself and having confidence in your ability, saying, you know what, I'm proud of the person that I am. And you know, it's something that I always say all the time is whenever I make like a big decision or anything like that, I'm like, is this something that my grandma would be okay with me doing? Right? You know, I feel like that's always it's always usually a good test. Like, is this something my grandma would approve of? Yes. Right?
Or even better, if someone insults you or you feel a certain way, you say, well, what part of me does this affect?
What part of me does this affect? And would my parents be proud of me? Depending on how I respond to this. Now, I'll say this with a caveat. If a guy's disrespecting me, he's taking it too far, puts his hand on me, I know my dad wouldn't mind if I handled business the way I got to handle business.
I wouldn't even do that. I'm registered. I'll kill you.
I think it's so important to love yourself and care about loving yourself, because then you take pride in your actions. You're happy to be who you are, and you have that kind of confidence. You can walk into a room and say, you know what? I mean, you're still always gonna have a little bit of this, but generally speaking, you know what? I don't care what other people think. I'm gonna do my own thing. I'm gonna believe in myself, and I'm gonna keep chasing my dreams. You know?
And it's the acceptance, because you're a human being. You're gonna feel it.
Of course.
But when we feel like, oh, I shouldn't feel it.
There's no absolutes. I mean, there's no person who's 100%, 0% doesn't care what anyone says.
Sit with your demons. I've said this a long time ago. Train your demons. Tom, Luke, Harry, you got to pay rent, bro. You've been here too long. You got to go. Why are you still here? Sit with these. They're your demons. Get to know them. Don't be like, oh man, my demons make me do this. Sit with that and get to know them. Like, well, why are you doing this? Now, when I know why you're doing this, and when you do it again, hey man, did I tell you not to do that? You sit with your demons so you can understand them.
So I got to ask you next. It's on the similar topic. What do you do when you get counted out by people? Right. So now we're not talking about expectations to perform. When people start doubting you, whether it's you're fighting and the crowd. I mean, we were just talking about this, and the crowd starts booing.
I love it.
Or people start hating on you because they're like, "Oh, you can't do this. The other guy's better," or anything like that. How does, because you've upsetted people in your career before. How do you face the people looking you in your face, not even the opponent, other people telling you, you can't beat that guy, you're not going to do this. How do you fight back against that?
I mean, there's so many ways to answer that, but the best way I can answer that is they can't do what I do. I mean, if you really break it down, they really can't do what you do. And I had to sit with myself long enough to not be reactive. Sometimes I lose myself because I'm a human being, but I catch myself. If we start catching ourselves to be like, okay, I made a mistake. Let me try to correct that. Maybe that's my personality. I'm like, I didn't do this right. How do I do better? But society is the first. You can't. Because a lot of us are living vicariously through someone else. Take celebrities, for example. I mean, I don't know fuck about the Kardashians, you know. There's some beautiful bitches that fuck black dudes, whatever. But people know these people like the back of their hands. Okay, fine, they go on TV, they spend money. What about your life, bro? Do you know about your life and what you want and what you want to do? So when I see people worshiping other people, I'm like, now there's a difference from respecting. Like Bob Marley's an idol to me. I respect that man for what he contributes and what he's done. But to worship someone, if you ever see me do that, you shoot me in the fucking knee and in the head afterwards. Dumb to me. I just don't get it.
I think it is very interesting. I think sometimes
that's right, you Taylor Swift fans. I said it.
Hey man, I'm not trying to start a war with the Taylor Swift. That's a dangerous.
Just come at me, bro. I can fight.
That's a dangerous battle. I'm not
crazy. Have you seen them fucking nuts?
I'm not. Hey, I don't want the smoke.
I don't give a. I don't want the smoke. I'm from New York. What's up? That's my gangster side.
So let's talk about you. And you retired from the UFC. You switched over to boxing a little bit, and then now you're unretiring. You're making your return soon. You're making your return soon.
Yeah.
And what's it like for you now? You're super experienced. You've spent so many years of your life. I mean, since you're talking about since you were like 12, 13-ish, training. How is it like for you to be like, man, I get to wake up and train. I mean, obviously you said you like to fight. So what is it like for you? So you still have the privilege to do this?
I still do it. I treat it like it's a privilege. You know, I train with the 20-year-olds. I was texting President Awesome maybe like 20 days out of my weight. I was like, I'm already on weight, you know, because for me, it's fun. And I lost that at some point in my career because at some point it's like, all right, I want to do this. And then you're like, oh, I got to make a business. Oh, I got to make money. Oh, God, the stress. And you put this little fun guy here. Some people carry that. I left my fun. But once I rekindled with my fun aspect of it, oh, I get to fucking do this. You know, I'm 41 years old and I go with the 21-year-olds. I go with the 20-year-olds all the time because they come at me. And I'm like, if I can beat your ass, these old ain't
Nobody
touching me.
can't do anything to you.
So-
And also, you have all the experience. You know more than you've had so many thousands of rounds.
Again,
and
I don't look at it like
punches
that.
and
I just have
experience.
fun. I just go in there.
And that's what it's all
And I'm
about.
like, how do I pick you apart? I treat it like a chess match. What do I do to dismantle you?
So you said that you lost the spark at one point, but you got it back. So what drives you now? Is it legacy? Is it money, or just love of the game?
Oh, it's money, but it's what I can do now at this point in my life. What can I contribute? I mean, I have so many ideas to help, and if this is going to be an idea to pave a way, then I can do that. Whether it's bringing light, whether it's talking to kids, whether it's inspiration. You know, I found that I think we have two lives, and the second one begins when you realize you have one. You know, I think for most people, like my buddy, he's just had a kid the other day, and he's like, this dude, nothing matters anymore. And that changed your perspective, especially as a man having a kid. And now it's like, oh, sweetheart, I might have to throw you in front of traffic to save my kid. So certain events is going to change your perspective. And I just got to a point in my life where I'm like, I've been through all this shit. I know God is molding me for something, because you know he likes to give his weirdest battles to his strongest soldiers. I'm like, you didn't just put me through this shit for nothing. What are you trying to teach me? And once I start to quiet myself, sit with myself, he's like, I got some shit for you, bro, but I need you to be okay with you, because you're not. And I had to sit with myself to be okay with me, to understand that people are going to be different. They're going to treat you a certain way, but it doesn't mean have anything to do with me. It's just them. And I'm always trying to fix. That's my thing. But some people you can't. You can bring a horse to the river. You can't force him to drink. See what I'm saying?
So when you think about now, you're still fighting. What do you see yourself doing 10 years down the line? And what do you think about when you want people to think about Uriah? I know you said you don't think of yourself as this like super decorated athlete, which you are. What do you want people to think about 10, 15, 20 years down the line when they say Uriah Hall? When you think about your legacy?
I'm going to be real with you. I think Bruce Lee said it too. That guy was real. That was a real one. He didn't fake it. There's so many people on this planet just faking it. I love being me. When I realized some people can't even sit with themselves because they have to be around people or they have to distract themselves, I was like, oh, I got it good. I love my alone
Comfortable
time.
in your own skin.
I am. I love being alone, and it's not like to isolate, because people take energy. And I used to feel weird. Like, why am I feeling weird around certain people? They take energy. And I used to think people didn't like me for certain reasons. Someone broke it down and like, brother, when you walk into a room, man, energy shifts. People are gonna like you, they're gonna be fake with you, or they're gonna hate you. But it's a thing, because you're like a chosen one or some shit, he said. But I used to be like, oh, people don't like me. He's like, don't worry about that. Just be the authentic you. And stop trying to be liked by everybody. You don't even like everybody. You know what I'm saying? We're all different, man. We're all going through our own experience, doing our own shit. And the moment I started to think like that, I'm like, oh, we're all gonna die at some point, man.
That's hey, but that's empty though.
Like that
You
car
think
outside
about-
is
you
gonna be
guys
someone
nice
else's
to
car in
everyone
like
else.
what, 20, 30 years?
Yeah.
You know, I'm driving someone else's car right now. Someone else's house right now. But what's important at this moment, this given moment, this is all I really have. And this is all I own. I don't own anything else in this country, especially in this country. I own me, my reaction, what I can do, and how do I help other people to become, I don't know, a better version of themselves.
So I want to round part of this out by, I know you talk a lot about how if you can have one goal, it would be to inspire people and help people get through tough situations. If you have one message for the viewer at home who's struggling with something, they have trauma, they're struggling with a challenge, they're trying to fight through something, they have a lack of a figure in their life, what is your advice to them?
Keep going through it, man. Because the dark shapes and molds you. But you have to keep going through it. A lot of people like to run from these things. But look at people that are doing very successful in life. They only see the top part, right? They don't see what a Jeff Bezos has to go through in his garage. You know, go through what you're going through, but be afraid and do it anyway. That's life. When you're dead, then you don't have a say. But you're not dead. And I forgot who's. I think it's Neil deGrasse Tyson, the smartest dude.
The science guy.
That guy. He said something about there's billions of people that didn't have to be here, but you get to fucking be here. So what are you gonna do with it? You gonna live vicariously through someone else? Listen to other people's opinion of you? Because someone's opinion of you shouldn't be your reality.
You're going to forge your own path.
Exactly. And it's easier said than done, but it takes a practice. Why? Because this is a muscle too. So when you wake up and you check your phone, guess what you're doing? You're fucking you're doing a muscle workout. But if you get up and spend some time with yourself, maybe meditate, that's another muscle too. This is the project. This is my project from now on. Because once I manifest this and build this guy, it goes out and I can do whatever I want.
That's powerful. I love that. So we're going to finish out the show with a few rapid fire questions. You ready?
Let's go.
Favorite martial arts movie?
Oh, Bloodsport.
Favorite quote? Or something you live by? Quote or mantra?
Oh man, I have so many. Someone's opinion of you should not become your reality.
Okay. Most peaceful place you've ever trained?
Trained?
Trained. Or best environment you've ever trained in, either or.
Japan.
Oh, that's a pretty cool one.
Yeah, that was dope.
If you weren't a fighter, what would you be doing?
Probably traveling the world, helping kids.
And
which I still can do.
Which I think you're still, I mean, we talked
Yeah.
about it, you're still doing now. And what's one thing that you think people don't understand about you or there's big misconception about?
Then I'm actually genuine. I don't have a bone in my body that wants to hurt anybody unless I have to. You know, I'm a nice human being, and you know, in the past I've gotten taken advantage of because of that, because that's how I was raised. And then my mom had to sit me down and be like, some people are gonna do that because I got heartbreak and hurt a bunch of times. Like, Mom, I don't understand. I'm being a good person. She's like, don't stop being that person. Just be aware of it, and be aware that not everyone's gonna like you just to like you. Some people are gonna find fault, but don't let it change who you are. You know, still be loyal to you because you owe it to yourself to be you. Don't sell it. Be you, because that's the hardest thing to do in the world. It's constantly trying to change you.
My last question. Jerk chicken or chicken curry?
Oh, shit.
Just got to round it out with this, right? I think it's the best way.
Or chicken curry?
Chicken curry, because that's the right way to say it.
Wait, are you trying to say curry chicken or chicken curry?
No,
You said jerk chicken because jerk chicken.
Jerk chicken, yeah, Jamaican, and then chicken curry. You know?
You mean curry chicken?
No, it's chicken curry.
So, folks, welcome back. We've been having this debate about curry chicken and chicken curry. And my guest here somehow has not been on the other side of the planet to know how we do things, which is curry chicken. So help me educate this man on how to say it properly.
Tell you what, you know what we'll do? We'll make this a comment war. If you guys think it's chicken curry, put it down in the comment section. If you think it's curry chicken, which is
curry
wrong,
chicken.
you put it down in the comments. We'll see who's right. We'll check this back in a few weeks.
Jamaica, tell this man a curry chicken. Him don't know nothing. You see what I say? Watch all the white girls going nuts right now. Jedi mind trick, white girls.
Uriah, we've had an awesome time today, man. Loved hearing about your story. Very inspirational, very powerful. Thank you so much for coming on to the show. And if you guys like this episode, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe and comment down below what kind of food you prefer, chicken curry or curry chicken. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Great filming.
That was awesome.